Friday and happy December 2nd. Welcome to the Keep Indiana Learning First Friday show. I am Marty Hoofer. I am the digital content manager for Keep Indiana Learning, and I have with me today
Tanika, and I am a professional learning specialist here at Keep Indiana Learning. Thank you for having me, Marty.
I am so excited to have you today. Not only is Tanika my friend, she's my across the hall neighbor. So we're neighbors and friends, and that's an awesome, awesome thing. Yes. Hello, friends. All right. So welcome to First Friday. We have a slightly different show planned for you today here on this first Friday of December. And I really think that picture is really pretty that says hello, winter, but I'm really not a fan of winter. Tanika, are you a fan of winter?
You know, I'm a fan of the seasons. I appreciate all four seasons. So I can't say I don't enjoy winter because I enjoy the change, the drastic change that happens. I want to look at winter from the window, you know? No, I don't really want to be in the winter. I just want to witness the winter.
I am going to borrow that line. That is perfect because I do appreciate the seasons. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, as much as I love Hawaii and how beautiful it is, I don't know that I would want to live where there aren't four seasons. But you're right. I don't necessarily need to be like boots on the ground in it.
There you go.
I'm going to borrow. I want to witness winter from the window. There we go. I love that. I love that. I love that. Well, so here on First Friday, we always want you to know how to stay in the loop. So you can go to our website, keepindianalearning.org, click on that button right up there at the top. It says browse upcoming live events. And that button is on every single page on our website. And when you get to the upcoming live events page on the right, you will see our live events calendar, which you can scroll down through and see them all individually. But if you click on that green button there on the right that says view now, you get a calendar so you can see everything in one place. And so if you want to know what is going on at Keep Indiana Learning, that's where you find out. And then what you can do is click on those events and register and get more information. So you can see that even though it's December, there is still plenty of learning happening here at Keep Indiana Learning. Next week is Computer Science Week. And so we are celebrating that with some tech tips every single day. We have a lunch and learn on Wednesday of next week. So we still have a lot going on, even as this semester wraps up. So that's all I'm actually going to say about our live events, because I'm very excited to have not only Tanika with us today, but Shannon Quigley. And so I am going to step aside and let you guys chat about a very exciting opportunity for Indiana teachers that is starting in January.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here chatting with you today.
Yes, it's a great time to talk about Modern Classrooms Project because we are nearing the time when people can register for the second cohort. And that we'll have more information about that later on in the live stream, but it's approaching for that date in January. But I just wanted to invite someone who is seeing it every day, just witnessing the magic that is MCP. You'll hear MCP, but that stands for Modern Classrooms Project. And it is an instructional model that allows our students to get their needs met in a way that still allows them to engage with content. And it frees up so much opportunity for the teacher to engage with their students to meet their needs on a daily basis. So I'm not gonna talk too much about it because I want to hear about someone who is seeing the magic happen. So if you would tell us about yourself before we start talking about the magic of MCP.
Sure. My name is Shannon Quigley. I am the manager of learning technology for Fort Wayne Community Schools. So we're a large district. We've got 52 schools, and this kind of started for us last spring. Our superintendent brought it to us through our professional learning department, kind of shared the philosophy behind what Modern Classrooms Project is, and was hoping that teachers from our district would join. So even though this wasn't necessarily a technology team initiative, it was one that, touches a lot of components of technology in my educator side, and really wanted to know more about it. So members of our technology team joined that cohort last spring. We went through it as if we were going to be teaching and presenting these lessons to students. So we got that experience of what was involved through the process. Here, as we have launched our school year, we had teachers that went through this over the summer or last spring. So now we're kind of supporting and helping teachers who are in the process of implementing in their classrooms.
Wonderful. So tell me, Shannon, with your position, how is it that you interact with Modern Classrooms Project each day?
Yeah, so my position is really, I support 11 different elementary schools. So at each of those schools, there's a couple of pockets of teachers who have chosen to implement this. So I'm really a touch-in person for them. So if they need a resource or they're trying a different strategy or if they need a tracker or one of those components, they can reach out to us. There are also other people in our district. Our professional learning department is really, frequently touching in with them. While we're more of like, hey, we're in your building talking technology. How can we support what you're doing in this program through our kind of lens? So it's a team effort here at Fort Wayne Community of how we can really support teachers who are doing this process.
Absolutely. Okay. And then you mentioned a couple of the features or components of Modern Classrooms Project, but just for our listeners. So we have 3 components of Modern Classrooms Project, and that's blended instruction, self-paced learning, and then mastery checks. And those 3 things together will allow teachers to have students interact with the content in a way that they can manage it on their own and have self-paced learning and actually track where they are in the process of learning. Whether, you still have your standards, you still have your curriculum, but this is a way for students to interact with technology while the teacher in person is able to meet with their students and intervene on those things that they may be struggling with, or enhance learning or extend learning for students who are actually ahead in their work. And then the mastery checks allow students to receive the feedback. So talk about maybe even specific ways that you've seen those 3 components help to enhance the learning environment.
Sure. So I can think of one recent example. I was just observing in a classroom at one of the elementary schools. It was a 5th grade math classroom. And they were sort of at a point, so the teachers in that building, they kind of go like a week at a time. So they have a tracker each week that students are kind of working through depending on where they are. And it gives them, the lessons that they've pre-recorded themselves teaching. So for students to access if they need a lesson or a reteaching. They have different activities, learning activities, kind of they follow that, must do, can do, want to do kind of format. So things that, extend the learning. So kids were at all different components of that. But this was probably the coolest thing I saw. They were at a point where like maybe half the class had reached the mastery check and the other half was still really struggling. So when I came in, the teacher had decided to take a date and she had paired up the students with a partner. So someone who had already gotten to mastery and someone who was struggling. And when I was walking around, it was really powerful to see the way that the students who had reached the mastery check were able to reteach those skills to a classmate. So It was like the communication between them. And it wasn't like, I don't think anyone in the classroom felt like, oh my gosh, he's helping me and I don't understand. Like it just showed what a community feel had been built through this process because the kids were so open to getting supported by one of their classmates. And the teacher was like, I'm sorry you had to come on this day. And I'm like, no, this is awesome because you can see the relationships and the community feel that that teacher had achieved just because they were used to working that way.
That is a wonderful bridge into what I was thinking about next and how I see Modern Classrooms Project as a way to help us with the equity piece in our classrooms and in our schools. And what I hear and what you just described, Shannon, is the acceptance, the support, not just from the teacher, but I feel like it was extended in that classroom to the students in accepting where we all are in our process, right? And that equitable piece in meeting students' needs, that teacher was able to honor and the needs of each student. Talk more about the way that you see MCP or Modern Classrooms project aligning with our need for equitable practices in our schools?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said about how that supports it, because one of the things, we've talked about as educators is that equity in our classrooms does not mean equal access or equal opportunities at different things. Some students need more opportunities for practice to reach mastery, and some students need they already know it. There's some students that walk in the door having background knowledge, having exposure to experiences that some students don't have. So when we are working in our classrooms and we're kind of teaching that, optimal middle of the road towards the standard, we're missing probably the majority of our students. So when we start to think in this mindset of, through Modern Classrooms project, of like, I'm going to give every student opportunities to hear each lesson, but you then from those to show mastery. So it's okay. Nobody's watching. If we're in a whole group and you aren't getting the correct answer, it's not called out, because there's opportunities that are natural for you to hear the lesson again and get to be able to practice that. And likewise, if I feel like I can master that quickly, there's opportunities for the students to go ahead and extend their learning right away. So there isn't this time gap where I'm waiting for other students to catch up to where I am. It really is giving that opportunity from the get-go of a unit or a topic for all students to take what they need.
Yes, definitely. And what I heard you say in there was about it's not about fair and it is not about equal, but equity is meeting students where they are and addressing those needs on that level and building their confidence to where they don't feel like where they are is less than. And I see that common thread all through Modern Classrooms project in a way that it honors and celebrates. There's even when you go through the course, I'm currently going through the course, and there are ways that we are being encouraged to build a self-paced, a tracker for the learning that celebrates where students are in their journey, their educational journey, depending on the unit or the lesson that they are engaged in. Wonderful. You highlighted so many things in there. Thank you so much for that. What I hear, and since you are currently coaching and leading other teachers who are implementing this, I know about leadership, and I'm sure that the passion that you carry has been just like transferred into their classrooms, because as a coach, I know how that can happen. And so I want you to speak to if you have seen how this motivation has just poured into other teachers. I have personally heard testimonies about how teachers their careers have been revived because learning and teaching as they know it has taken on a new look in their classrooms, and students are feeling motivated. Can you talk about how you think that the careers of teachers has been revived and how they are now thinking of this career as not one to exit, but how they will stick and stay?
Yeah, and I want to give a lot of credit to the teachers in our district who are doing this, because they're really leading this. I can't be in a building or a classroom with them every day and seeing it. So I feel like I'm really an observer of the good things they're doing. And some things that I've seen that I think are awesome to speak to what you're kind of asking is that the way that they collaborate with their team, I think, has helped them tremendously through this project, because it can be, when you look at it from the onset of like, oh my gosh, I have to create all these materials to make this work, it could feel overwhelming. But when you know that everyone on your team is kind of working together, it's in sharing that load rather than having just to manage my own classroom. Like, I can trust my partner to create this, I'm going to make all the videos for this unit and you're going to make all of the resources, and we can really team up. And then it's taken the pressure, or kind of that, at the end of the day, when you're just exhausted from being the center of the classroom every day, you're really shifting the student centeredness. So, you're putting that load on the students to be the ones doing the work, and you really have been able to facilitate better because of that. So I think teachers are enjoying that aspect of Modern Classroom, is that it takes that pressure off of them in the moment, and they really feel like they can help support the students in their classroom with what they need. And when you're trying to manage a class and do that at the same time, it's really hard.
For sure.
Develop these teams, like, that teacher that I talked about the other day was able to just pull students back when they needed, and everyone else just kept working. So.
And what I hear you say is collective efficacy, right? We know about teacher efficacy, and that is a huge thing right now, especially after what we all have been through. Building confidence in our students is important, but building confidence in our teachers is very important. And that collective efficacy as well, and it is key to us moving forward together. And so MCP, thinking about going through the program and the process of building the curriculum and the videos and the trackers and all of that, if you have someone that you can go through it together and alongside of you, that would make this an even better experience. And then you all can go through it together and share the load. And so that was a great thing to highlight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there's other, the other thing I want is if people go through the course, which I think is a great way to look at this, like, don't feel like you have to jump in the next day and do this. This could be stuff that you're building up to doing. So, there's time to make your classroom work this way now that we're thinking. So if you go fall or the spring or winter, start thinking about maybe I'm going to start using that sample one as like the beginning of launching it in August. And then when this year you could start to implement different components of it, kind of getting yourself prepped for what that might feel like when you go all in a classroom next year. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that don't feel like you have to rush the process. Try to really focus on different components and develop your confidence in using them as well.
Yes. And also the program and the course is asynchronous with some deadlines that give you deadlines, but it is asynchronous and you walk alongside of a mentor that is helping you. There are discussions and you can log on to, some support. I've been on some videos where they've been talking about the upcoming assignment. So there's loads of support to help you along the way. And we have full plates, no doubt about that. But this is a course that can allow you to embed it into your everyday practices, life, work, whatever else you're doing, and that you can complete it. And very good point, Shannon, that it doesn't have to be implemented the very next day. You end the course with 3 completed courses and lessons that you can implement when you're ready. Now, that's a very good point to highlight. What would you say to the teacher who's on the fence? They've heard about this MCP, this Modern Classrooms project, and they're like, sounds great for the next person, but I'm not sure about me. What would you say to that teacher who's on the fence about if this is for them or not?
Yeah, I would say you really have nothing to lose by trying or looking into and exploring and taking the course. I think you'll find it really refreshing to see different ways that you can approach things you've probably been doing parts of in your classroom, to be that missing piece that puts it all together to help take some of that stress off of your daily teaching. It's a little bit more prep, but when you're in the moment teaching, now you feel like you can actually reach those different parts that maybe you weren't getting to in your day. So I would say if you are on the fence about it, go for it. And I feel like you're going to find something in this program that's going to make you think, yeah, this was worth doing.
Yes, and there's no cost. I would love to say that. Make sure that everyone knows there is no cost. It is fully grant funded and it is free to you. So the deadline is approaching. You can see here that it is now posted up on our screen. Register by January 13th in this upcoming year. So 2023. Oh my gosh, I say 2023, but I'm like, what? It's 2023 almost. So that deadline is approaching, but you still have time. Give yourself the gift of exploring a new opportunity for you and your students. Unwrap this gift for you and your students, and you'll get a lot of benefits. I say that it's the gift that keeps on giving. So be a part of the winter cohort, and this lasts from January 23rd to April 16th. And you can join in with others that will be going through it as well and make it a collective effort. Contact me, Tanika Kinartail. My email is here, tkinartail@ciesc.org for more information. Even if you're not sure, I'll hook you up with someone from MCP and you guys can talk about the opportunities that are there. Learn more and register at www.modernclassrooms.org/Indiana. And as we close out, as a cheerleader of MCP, do you have any last words, Shannon, about MCP that you just want to share?
Like you said before, I feel like it's just a great opportunity. So if you, like you said, if you're on the fence, I feel like this is going to be something that you'll find worth your investment of time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out to share.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, Shannon, what I loved, a couple of things you talked about. Well, the story of just watching the teacher be able to continue to work and pull kids aside, and the rest, the magic just kept happening with her, without her being centered. It was centered on her students, and that's why we're educators, is we want them to be centered, and so often we're centered, and I love that. But, and Tanika, like you said, this would revolutionize a career, and it's free. And worst case scenario, you get 30 PGPs on the backside. Okay. Yeah. So what a great opportunity for Indiana teachers. So like you see there on the screen, modernclassrooms.org/Indiana will get you signed up. So Tanika and Shannon, thank you so much for sharing today, for being a part of our First Friday show and sharing the amazing opportunity that is Modern Classrooms Project. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
And viewers, we will see you back in January. January 6th is the First Friday, so we will see you then. We hope you have a great holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.